I'm so full of joy today because I get to interview my favorite realtor. We always need one. I have multiple, but she is my top New York City real estate agent, Nirveeta Mahabir. Thank you so much for joining me today, Nirveeta. I know we've been talking about this for some time now, and we finally, our schedules were able to mesh, and I'm just so happy you're here.
Thank you so much, Angelica. It means so much to me that you invited me to be on your show and that you consider me at this this level, and I appreciate that.
You know I do. I always say Nervita's a powerhouse. Nervita is the New York City real estate queen. And you're always like so humble. No, I'm not. It's the team. I say, no, it's you. It's really you. So I know a lot about your story, obviously, because we've known each other for like 5 years, right? I think more than five
Yeah.
years. Around 5 years. And we did meet in the New York City luxury real estate industry. And I know a little bit about your story, but I wanted to share your journey because I feel that this industry is glamorized for sure. You know, all the TV shows and all of these things that are on TV. And I feel that it might be a little misleading. We all know when things are on TV, they have to be glamorized, or if not, it wouldn't have viewers. But this industry is something that can be so lucrative, right? So lucrative. It could be a really beautiful experience to help someone buy their first home. And I think there are so many pieces of wisdom that you can share with the audience about how to do this in such a graceful way that I've seen you do it. But first and foremost, we have to start from the very beginning with you. You were originally an accountant in Ernst Young, and I happen to know that you went to St. John's University through our conversations,
Yeah.
and you received a BS in management, master's in accounting, ended up in accounting at Ernst Young. But then you made the leap to New York City luxury real estate. And I mean, that's a leap nonetheless. So I want to know, right? You share your journey with the audience about what it was to go from there to now here. And, just share your journey with us a little bit about how that looked like for you and what it looks like now.
So it's super interesting. I was inspired by my dad to get into business, which is why I did my undergrad in business management. Going in for my master's, pushed me, my sister pushed me into accounting. But it wasn't where my passion lied. I initially wanted to do marketing. Following in her footsteps, I landed into accounting. I mean, I'm thankful I did. Soon after I ended up with a job at Ernst Young, I was auditing in the real estate industry actually, which was super interesting. So I stayed there for 2 years. I realized that it wasn't my calling. I don't want to be behind a desk. I am a creative person. I love meeting with people. I love talking with people. And I feel like my skills would have been valued elsewhere, you know, much more. And there was so much more that I can give of myself where I can be fulfilled and have a fulfilling career. And so, I thought, well, why not real estate sales? I can marry my creativity with my authenticness and, help people, get a home, get their lives moving on. And,
Okay.
that feels good to me.
Okay. And I think what you said is so important because a lot of what you mentioned was purpose. You said calling. You give the impression that you were at a job that didn't feel as fulfilling and you decided to make that jump into something that married your passions, your skills, your talents. And believe it or not, I think that's very impressive because I I think it takes a level of self-awareness for someone to say, "Hey, I'm really talented at this. Hey, I'm really skillful at that." And then you grabbed the inspiration from your family and your father and that business background. Can you tell us a little bit about what kind of skills or what kind of um, foundational things did you carry over from that accounting period, from that inspiration that your father gave you over to New York City real estate, and especially in the luxury market, because we forget to mention there are levels to this.
Mhm.
and Nirveeta's
Absolutely.
and Nirveeta's at the top of the level. She won't say it to you, but this woman, she does transactions for multi-million dollar condos, homes in New York City, prime, Manhattan locations, as other places as well in the state of New York. But you're doing it at a really big and high level. And I think it's important to show people that it's the basic foundational skills that can get you there, and not just get you there, but sustain you there. So, what are some of the skills that you feel you learned at the beginning, even from your accounting background, that have served you in this high stakes, glamorous luxury market, you think that you could share?
So first of all, in general, just leading back to my dad, like consistency is key and never giving up. So you keep pushing yourself forward, no matter the situation. In real estate sales, it's a commission-based industry. There's always risk associated with it. Are you willing to take that risk? If you are, then there's reward associated with it. But it's hard work, persistence, constant dedication, and being on the grind. It's a nonstop business. From my accounting background, I feel like it served me well, especially in New York City, because we all know about board packages,
Yeah.
having to deal with co-ops, making sure that your client looks the best in front of the board in terms of their financials and their post-closing liquidity. Like, do they have at least 2 years post-closing? What's their debt to income ratio? Spelling it out for the board, looking at their financials and helping to guide them.
Mhm.
I feel like those skills that I gathered from there, like working with those numbers and really understanding the finances of other people's information and putting that together in a really simple way to a board. So to help them pass the process is, I mean, it's a skill that I am thankful for, and I'm happy that I was able to have that background in accounting. So it isn't all new to me, and that way I can help guide my clients a little bit better.
I love that. And I think, well, for people that don't know, because when I first started this New York City luxury real estate game, and I like to say that it's a game because it really feels like the Hunger Games, especially in New York City. It could be like $1 million condo and it'll be snatched up in within hours.
Yeah.
You know this. It's so competitive. And I didn't know what co-ops were, what board packages were. And can you explain a little bit to our audience what board packages are and how difficult? Some people don't really understand. Like there are many beautiful buildings in New York City, in places
Mhm.
like Manhattan, and chic, trendy places like Soho, or any of the towns in the boroughs, Upper East Side, Upper West Side. Like all these areas have beautiful buildings that you may just think, oh, because I make X amount, I can get in there. But it's like, no, wait, that's just the first requirement. There's so many different things. Can you explain a little bit about what that board package process looks like and how difficult it actually is, and why somebody might really benefit from having someone like you that knows this game, that knows a little bit like of the tricks like love letters and all these other things that we know because we've been in the industry before. But can you explain a little bit about that process and what that board package looks like for people that don't know?
Sure. So it's essentially an entire package about the buyers, everything about the buyers, mainly about their jobs and their finances, and can they afford this home? Can they afford the monthly payments? So we first, as to mention your love letter, we first advise you do like a little bit brief scenario about yourself, introducing yourself to the board, and telling them why this home would be a great fit for them. This way, it introduces you as a person, and you just don't look like numbers on paper. They understand who you are and they want to know who you are coming into the building. So it entails basic information about who's going to occupy the home and all of that stuff. But then you have the financial statements where, of course, you list all your assets, your liabilities, and then you're required to provide proof for every single line item on there as well. So this is where you help tick and tie the numbers to the statements. We even go the extra extent where you need to circle the numbers and tie these numbers out exactly as they are, and you have to list them to the penny in the financial statements. And what you're required to do for most situations, and it's what everyone should be doing, is like have a summary page with every single financial detail showing the total liquid assets, because that's most important. How much post-closing are they going to have after they close on this home, and how much of that is going to help for their monthly payments. Some people have up to 2 years monthly payments. Some people have up to 10 years monthly payments. It depends. But portraying that in the best way and easiest way possible helps, as well as your debt to income ratio, which is super important as well. But then you have to provide tax returns and all of that good stuff. Reference letters, another super important one. And this is one that you always recommend that, as soon as you go into contract on something, this is a key one. You tell your client, go request those professional and personal letters right away, because this is usually the thing that you are waiting on like the longest to get back from someone else.
Mhm.
So, that's a tip that I recommend. And yeah, it's all about like
You know,
putting together like all of those details and portraying your client in the best way possible.
I think beautifully said. You
Thank
made it
you.
sound so like a breeze walk through the park, and we know it's not a breeze or a walk through the park. And it just goes to show, and I wanted you to share that because I think sometimes people think that, money is king or cash is king or that saying, and it's not everything. And to your point, like there's so many different requirements, like even adding
Mhm.
a love letter, or it's just like it makes you understand why New York City real estate, especially in the luxury market, is so competitive, right? Because everyone has the funds, everyone has, the debt to income ratio that looks good. So what is really going to set you apart may just be the love letter. So there are like little things that you wouldn't know if you weren't in the industry. So I think you sharing things like this are tidbits of really good information and advice for people that, you know, may think they can do it by themselves and then quickly realize that this is a game that is not designed for everyone to win, unfortunately. But you that's why you have to hire the best, and
Okay.
the best is Nirveeta. So just just go with
I appreciate
her.
it.
But Nirveeta, you said something earlier about taking risks, and it stuck with me because so many times I mean, at least in New York City, I think in all business, right? It doesn't matter what industry you're in, taking risks will really give you sometimes like the biggest reward, and you just don't
Mhm.
ever know when it will actually pay off. Sometimes it doesn't pay off at all. Sometimes it'll give you, a new client, or it'll let you achieve a new milestone in terms of sales and things like that. And I quickly remembered my a stint that I did in real estate. Um, the biggest things that, like, I would say the biggest accomplishments I had was when I took like these risks that at the time didn't feel definitely felt out of my comfort zone. It was something new that I was trying, but I did it, and it worked. So I wanted to ask you, what to date, right? I know you've been in the industry for a couple of years now. What has been the biggest risk that you've taken in this field, and how did it pay off? It could be like a client that you had, and you decided to steer them in a different direction, and then they liked the direction that you steered them in, because that's a risk, right? When you're working with someone, people are very glued to the things that they like, and you can take a risk in saying, hey, let's try something new. They may fire you, or they may love you and say, you know what, you were right, I'm happy you took that risk. but there's always trades off when it comes to that. So can you think of a risk that you've taken maybe lately, or just in the course of your real estate career that you feel paid off, or maybe it didn't pay off and you let us know so we don't take that risk?
So I think just to like move backwards slightly, I think just in general, one of the biggest risks that I've taken
Mhm.
was to move from accounting, monthly paying job at W-2 to a 1099, which was a tremendous shift. And I knew that there was going to be a huge risk associated with that, especially since the New York City market is super volatile as well. So when you say the word risk, that resonates with me the most in terms of my career in real estate. That said, I feel like it requires a lot of patience. And, just to give an example too, like you constantly show these apartments over and over again, especially if you're at a new dev. Um, I mean, you spend a ton of time doing these things, and then sometimes someone may not like bite right away on the property, they won't put in the offer. Just this week, I just want to point out, like, I mean, you always have people that come back to you. So just this week, interesting enough, two homes that I showed last year,
Oh,
these buyers came back and they bid on the property. So it's so interesting how the market works, and we're seeing buyers being patient, but and coming back when prices are down, when they see a good chance to like get in there and have like a good return. Anyways, I'm going a little bit off course, but I think I expressed like when you say the word risk,
yes.
that's what resonates with me. I mean, sometimes you have to like take risks, like for example, like if an apartment is set up a certain way, you take a risk, like you may need to add an extra bedroom. You inform the developer that this is something that you need to do in order to move this home. So all of those things are risk, but it's risk that you take with confidence that it's gonna get the job done. And you instill that confidence in your client too, because, at the end of the day, you're on the front line selling this home.
Yes.
You're meeting all the buyers, you're getting the feedback, and, you give them that confidence that by taking this risk as well, this home is going to sell. And this brings me to like, I'm sitting in one of the penthouses at the Gracie Green condominium right now, and we're going to release the penthouse collection soon. And, we made some amazing changes here, and we're excited for everyone to see it once we release. So
I love that. And
stay
exactly,
tuned.
by the way, but you see, she's a penthouse woman. Do you see why I call her my favorite New York City luxury real estate agent? So tell us a little bit more about this penthouse, because I want to go back to um, just your journey when you're working with so many different groups of people, like you said, the developer, and I'm sure other agents, definitely the client. So I want to know, like, kind of like your experience with the synergy of everyone. Of course, everyone has to be on the same plane, but I want to get your perspective on what that looks like as the agent that is, like you said, you have to instill confidence in, the potential buyers. You have to instill confidence in the developer, in the seller, which is essentially the developer, right? So, but before we get into that and kind of what your experience has been with that, let's get back to this penthouse. So where is it located exactly, and when is it rolling out? Like when can people
I
start like saying that they're interested in stuff, just so we know?
So pretty soon, we're super excited to release this. This coming week or next week, actually, we're gonna start the release of it. So it's at 427 East 90th Street, the Gracie Green condominium. We
Okay.
have three amazing penthouses, a fabulous ground floor unit, unmatched in terms of outdoor space. We have like 14 42 square feet of outdoor space on that ground floor unit. I mean, like you don't find that on the Upper East Side. So if you're looking for a home with that scale of space, like this is it. The penthouse that I'm sitting in now, you have 938 square feet outdoor terrace. I mean, it's a little bit difficult to see right now, but and 2,317 interior square footage, but beautiful as you can see. Like the developer even opted for a 100-year-old cured pine wood floor in these units. So super pristine, amazing developer. And again, I wouldn't be here without the Tavivian team. This is their relationship here, their sponsor, but they trusted me enough to be the salesperson on this project, which I am super appreciative for.
I
And we've done 6 sales in the past 6 months here, and we're ready to get the rest sold.
love this. And they chose the perfect person. They chose the perfect person for this because I've said it before, you lead with so much grace and you instill confidence in people. And I think in business a lot of times I mean, I love to do business with people I like, and you're a very likable human being, Oh, excuse me, I'm still going through this little recovering stage, but you're a very likable human being. And, I think you're so knowledgeable. And sometimes people say the place sells itself. I'll buy, first of all, having space, the way that you mentioned the terrace in this particular penthouse, New York City, people that know and are in the market to buy in New York City, they know how rare that is. So that's already a rarity. Um, and then combining you being the salesperson, it's just like the dream come true. Because again, you want to be with someone like yourself that you will help the person from the beginning to the very end in a very graceful, gracious, you know, just kind way. And I think that that has stayed with your clients, and that's why they come back. That's why they come back even after a year. You just mentioned, So kudos to you, and I've always admired that about you, truly. So now that we have this penthouse information, I wanted to go back to the conversation you were having a little bit earlier about the developers and that entire team. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that team dynamic looks like? Because sometimes I feel, when someone, let's say for example, I'm brand new and I want to join New York City real estate, the luxury market, I want to be an agent. And I think sometimes the TV shows just show like the broker and then the agent, and then that's it. Like those are the only two people that are responsible for these massive penthouses or sales being made. And I think that the architect is never shown, the developer rarely shown, even the clients, sometimes they're not shown as often. And I get that people prefer their privacy and stuff like that. But can you talk to us a little bit about the necessity in the relationships that you carry through all of these people and how they all kind of interconnect, and what's the best kind of scenario for you to work with all of these groups of people to successfully sell, for example, this penthouse?
So again, I'm part of a team which is amazing. So my team lead, Yair Tavivian, Ariel Tavivian, they do a lot of the communications with the developer. We all connect on stuff, on how can we improve. The people in the front lines, of course, like you're here, you're meeting the buyers. You give the feedback what we're getting every single day. You try to come up with ideas. What can we do better? What can we do to get this moving? And then, they communicate and streamline the process. So it's nice when you're working on a team. So, the process is streamlined nicely. So everyone has like their stuff cut out for them. But at the same time, you're involved in everything in terms of bouncing ideas off of each other. So we have various group chats. But yeah,
Okay.
that's essentially
So day-to-day communication basically, because without one of you, if one of you fall out, the whole thing falls through, right? because you need one another in order to, stay on the same task. Everyone knows what the other person is doing, like a baseball team. I don't know why I say baseball. It's not my favorite sport, but
I,
like a
I
baseball.
think I think we all have each other's back and
Hmm.
we all stay in the know of every single step that's happening. So say in the event I'm not able to be there, like you fill someone in exactly where you're at, so they know how to seamlessly come in and fill that spot too. So it's nice that everyone has each other's backs and we're all working towards the same goal to get, the apartments
Gold,
going. Yeah.
gold.
So
Offer
it's
accepted. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so I'd like to ask you two more questions before we disconnect, and we'll see each other again soon, but we'll be disconnecting soon. You mentioned a lot about teamwork, and I love that about you because you always give credit to your team, and I think that's very important because that's why I wanted to ask, because I think like when people look at these shows, it's literally just the broker and the agent, and people, it misleads people because people think they can go out and just do it themselves, which some agents do it solo and they're not part of a team. But for the most part, right, there's something so valuable about having a team member, teammates that have been in the industry much more time than you have, right? That mentorship component, even that friendship component that you start building over time. I think it's invaluable because the real estate agency and agent industry can become lonely sometimes, especially if you are a solo agent. Um, but you, Missy, are very successful at what you do and what you've done for all the reasons that I mentioned. You're kind, you're graceful, you're very knowledgeable, you are like pristine negotiator, all of these beautiful things. In your opinion, what's the one? I know you have maybe like a list of things and you can't maybe point to one. So I'm going to challenge you to just give me like one trait that you feel you have that has made you this successful in this field for this long. And it's going to be for many, many more years to come as well. What has made you this successful, you think?
I think authenticity and being true to yourself and being kind is that to me because this world we know has so much negativity in it. So I feel like being authentic gets you to where you need to be. You don't need to be anyone else but yourself and be true to that in here. And you're gonna see like miracles happening all the time. And like I am super thankful for that. And I honestly I see it and I see that every single day. I mean, sometimes negativity in the world brings us down, but you know, the good is there, the good is happening. But again, authenticity and staying true to yourself is number one.
And I think this comes back to, will not come back, but segues to my last question and what I wanted to share about everyone about you. So this show is called Behind the Brand with Angelica De Leon, and I like to share what I what I feel your brand is. The experience. I feel we all have life experiences with people. And I always say that we like to say that we treat everyone the same, but that's not always true. That's not entirely true because there are certain people that bring out pieces of us that we didn't know we had. And there are other people that we resonate with more. And so we all want to treat everyone with respect, but there are some people that you just feel more connected to. And I have always felt that with you. And I think you just kind of alluded to why. And I think it's really that authenticity point. I never felt like what you said was opposite from what you were doing. And that congruency is so rare, especially in places like big cities and like New York City and maybe even LA, although I've just frequent New York, but I think in glamorous industries also, you have people that are not as congruent or authentic to themselves because they feel like they have to fill this certain, look or void or just to seem successful. But my perception of your brand is that you are, like I said, extremely intelligent in this industry, and you treat every client with so much care that it shows. And I feel like the clients also feel that because they come back to you. But of course, I am not you, and I want you to speak for yourself. So, what do you feel your brand is? Or what would you like your brand to be, and the type of legacy you'd like to leave in this world?
You know, I feel like I lead with kindness, integrity, and a commitment to serving my clients in the best way possible. So I would say, that's my brand, and I give it my all, and I give it all to my clients, I give it all to my team, and I'm doing all of this for the best results for everyone. And just I have a passion for that, and I just want everyone to be happy at the end of the day, including myself. Super.
Don't forget about yourself. Hey, you have a passion and you have a gift because you're excellent at this. And I always tell you this, and I will always tell you this. I admire you. I love what you do. And thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. Nirveeta Mahabir. Yay.
Thank you so much. And first, I just want to switch gears here right now because this woman that I'm talking to, she literally inspired me. I don't know if you see it on the shelf right there, that little book called Love. I saw this on social a few weeks ago, and I immediately had to. You posted the link to your book on Instagram, and I was super touched and inspired. Like I immediately ordered one. I had to read it. I mean, you inspire me so much as a young woman and just in general with so much that you do. And I appreciate that about you. And I just want you to know that.
Thank
And
you.
and
Thank
you
you.
you inspire me. You do so much between that and your passion in law and your clothing line, like you do it
Nirveeta,
all.
Nirveeta's like, you do too much. Thank
No,
you. Thank
I
you so
mean
much,
it's super
Nirveeta.
inspirational, and you know, I love having colleagues like that by my side to constantly be inspired by that. And thank you
I
for
agree. Thank you. Thank you so much, Narmita, for handing me my flowers. We've handed each other our flowers, and I couldn't agree more. The people you keep around you, are so important because they do keep you motivated, and they keep a little fire under you that I feel like we all need. And you have flamed my fire the way that I hope I have flamed yours. So
You did. I would have never opted for something like this, and you pushed me out of my comfort zone. And I know I froze a little bit in this, and I'm nervous, guys, just a heads up. But
it's
I
worth it. This is
hope.
so good. I feel like you shared so much. So thank you again, Arvita, and thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you, Angelica. Bye.